this next topic is kind of a dicey one.
Yeah,
But
gonna have to be.
it's we need to talk about what went down with complexity in the ALGS championships. Because we went from a top tier, just overall amazing team from what was it, ALGS autumn or winter,
Yeah, I
that
think a little bit of both.
they did really well, and I think
Yeah.
they won one of those tournaments, obviously. And my theory is that they are struggling because, simply put, there's no IGL. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts. I know that's a
Um,
hot take, but
I mean, the thing is, this isn't a new idea and a new
no.
topic,
Mm-mm.
at all. And I remember the day after one of the members of Complexity, I think it might have been Monsoon, came out and talked about their own regrets and their own failures and their own just feelings about the fact that they had gone from the most dominant, the most consistent, the most feared team in competitive Apex,
Mm-hmm.
and in less than a year had, you know,
Kind of
not
fallen from the heavens almost.
they barely qualified, and then once they had qualified, it was just they were like what, like 5 points away from finals, which
They
in
were very
itself
close. I mean, you have to give it to them. They fought till the very end for those
they did,
placement points. I mean,
they did. But as a non-pro player, but from what I can ascertain, they're not happy with that at all.
no,
And I wouldn't be either. I
no.
mean, you go from what you were to what you are now, and you're just not happy. I mean, any pro player wouldn't be happy with what they had, with you know,
Mm-hmm.
going down to that point. And I just feel like I agree with you in terms of the IGL. I mean, that in itself isn't a new thing. Sweet himself was saying that a lot of the issues that previous competitive NRG teams in Apex had was that they hadn't had a good IGL or a defined IGL prior to him. That Frex was technically the IGL for Rocker and Nathan prior to him getting there. And then when he was there, it was Moore and Ace. And then before Frex, it was Ace, Moore, and Dizzy.
Mm-hmm.
And all that time, I mean, up until then, the meta had been shifting and wasn't really set in stone or concrete before. But I think that going forward, there will be and has to be for any team an IGL,
Yeah, an established IGL for
established
sure.
IGL. Because, I mean, yeah, at the same time, you don't want anything toxic to arise. You don't want, a power dynamic. But at the same time, and you don't obviously want to just poop on one dude if he's made a decision and it turns out to be the wrong one.
Mm-hmm.
But you kind of need that. You need to have one person that makes a decision and y'all stick with it, you trust it, you go after it. And even if it goes wrong 1 in 5 times,
Mm-hmm.
do it. I was watching a complexity stream during ALGS group stages, and obviously they don't stream, but we were watching. I think it was Play Apex or one of the others, and they were spectating them, and their comms were just so disjointed.
Mm-hmm.
Was so much discussion going on to where if you would listen to NRG or TSM or any of the other top players, there'd be so much more consensus
Mm-hmm.
about everything and so much more confidence. I mean, there's no reason for Complexity not to be the most confident team
Mm-hmm.
in the lobby.
Yeah, I mean they're
They are the most mechanically skilled team
yeah.
and super smart about
Mm-hmm.
everything,
Mm-hmm.
competitive Apex wise. And there's no reason they shouldn't be the most confident team, but they just weren't. And I feel like the reason they weren't was because they didn't have a set IGL.
Mm-hmm. I feel like in Apex, especially when there's so much information to kind of absorb and kind of retain, the problem is it becomes whether how good are you at being able to filter out information that's not pertinent to your situation right now. And I think that's where an IGL kind of comes in and is able to filter that information and be able to tell what is the right decision to make. Because if you look at, if you just looked at Albarelli and Nocturnals and Flankers comms, they're extremely clean. They are solid. And that's because they have a lot of trust in Albarelli to make those calls and knowing
It's
that
more just information feeding rather than telling you what to do.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because Nocturnal and Flanker understand that at the end of the day, Albarelli's the one making decisions on where this team is going to go. All
Right.
they're doing is providing the input and the information necessary for Albarelli to create and make those decisions.
And I'm not saying like that if you're positive as a non IGL that whatever the IGL's call is not true
Mm-hmm.
or not a good call. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, give out your opinion. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, it's like if y'all are just at a disagreement, you follow your IGL.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's anything the complexity had. I think that it was if we didn't have an 100% consensus, then we don't do it. That we
Right.
sit here and we just debate about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just watching, I don't remember what day or what game it was, but they had ran around Sorting Factory for like 10 minutes deciding
Mm-hmm.
what rotation to make. And all it was indecisiveness. And it killed me inside because I knew that if they just jumped on a team
Mm-hmm.
and full sent it,
They're likely to beat
they're
them.
gonna win it.
They're
They're
gonna
gonna
win.
win it.
They're
They're
gonna
gonna win it.
win.
They're so good. They're just gonna win it. Um, and I feel like the issue was they lacked so much confidence because of their, you know, recent issues and recent numerical. I don't even know how to say it, but like the fact that they just had not been placing or had not been doing well ALGS points wise or tournament wise in general. But the thing is, that's not the reason that they're not doing well is because they're indecisive. It's just a
Mm-hmm.
cycle. It's
It's just a
like
cycle, yeah. And I think that their performance is also affecting their mindset as well, right? I think as they
definitely
were continually not doing as well as they expected to be, that really put a puncture in how well and how confident they are in taking 3v3s and taking third parties. Um,
right.
and I think that's just something that is, in my opinion, is going to go away this next ALGS because I think they understand that, hey, we're one of the best teams in NA right now. What's going on? We need to push every single team that we can
Right.
because they are terrified of us. Terrified.
Right. I think they're going to sit back and they're going to religiously watch VODs. And I think they're going to just study it more than any other team. I'm actually more scared of complexity if they get if they get it together. I'm more scared of complexity than any other team.
Yeah. 100%.
And honestly, that even includes NRG. And you know how scared of NRG I am. I
Yeah.
think, yeah. Like, I just think if they get it together, if they understand, if they make one person their IGL and they just decide to switch up the dynamic that they have right now and they finally just get to it, I don't think there's another team that comes close.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, they just have to unlock that kind of potential, or at least reset that potential that they had when they were winning those ALGS tournaments.